Hello class, this is your instructor James Saunders coming to you from beautiful Sparta, Tennessee. I'd like to welcome you to Workshop 1. This week we have several things to accomplish, so I want to take just a few minutes to review with you a little bit about the readings, talk about the assignments, and the general expectations for the week ahead. As we get started, I want to remind you of two things. First, if you haven't already done so, please complete the academic honesty quiz. Also, please be working to complete your class autobiographies. These don't have to be very in depth, but I love reading about my students. I like to know what your hobbies and interests are, maybe a little bit about your family, talk about your current academic journey, maybe your future academic pursuits, your career goals, your current job. Just share with me and your classmates enough information so we get a sense of who you are, what's important to you, and what you would like to glean from this class. Also, please don't forget, if possible, please attach a current photo so that I and your classmates can know who it is that we're talking to throughout the next 5 weeks. Now, this week you're going to have several readings that you're going to be engaging in our primary text, The Meaning of Difference. First, you're going to be reading the initial framework essay. Now, in this essay, the authors introduce two concepts. I don't want to say too much about this here, but just to introduce them, they talk about the concept of essentialism and the concept of constructionism. Now, essentialism basically says that reality exists independent of our perceptions. So, we perceive meaning rather than construct meaning. On the other hand, a constructionist view says that reality cannot be separated from the way a culture makes sense of it. So, to a constructionist, we make sense through social, political, legal, scientific, and other practices in which we engage. Now, the authors take a constructionist view throughout the framework essay and the remainder of the primary text, but they also acknowledge the fact that nobody can be a pure essentialist or a pure constructionist. Most of us fall somewhere in the middle on that continuum. So hopefully you will enjoy engaging in that initial framework essay and then the follow-on readings that you'll have throughout the week in the subsections. Now, about our assignments. Initially, before you dive too far into the reading and do your discussion boards, you need to submit in Dropbox 1.1 your your diversity essay, just a two-page essay talking about how you think diversity affects those in the helping profession. Okay. Now, this essay, please keep in mind that you do need to do APA format, and I give some instructions on that in my deliverables post, that it needs to be Times New Roman, double spaced, 12-point font. Okay. Please include a title page, and if you use any references, be sure to use a reference page, also in appropriate APA format. You're going to have two discussion board posts this week. The first is going to be building off of your readings, how the authors present the idea that diversity is a social construct. So in discussion board 1.3, you're going to address this issue and talk about difference, provide some examples of difference, and talk about a time when you have felt different. And then you can also defend your assertions with the readings from this week or any outside readings, and you can state whether you agree or disagree with the author's position. Remember, the purpose of a discussion board is to share your thoughts in a scholarly manner, but also to engage in dialogue with your classmates and myself. So also, you're going to have discussion board 1.4, where you get a chance to talk about a Christian perspective of diversity. I'm really looking forward to seeing what you come up with in this assignment, because the Bible, from cover to cover, Genesis to Revelation, is very rich with material addressing the idea of diversity, how God views his creation, how God expects those of us who are in this world to interact with one another, whether believer or non-believer, male or female. There's a wealth of information in the scriptures about the idea of diversity. So you are going to be challenged to write a Christian perspective on diversity, and you need to use at least 5 biblical references in addition to any outside. outside sources that you might want to draw in for that particular discussion. Then finally, as far as assignments go, you're going to have a weekly reflective essay that is due. This needs to be 3 to 4 pages. Also, make sure you pay attention to APA format. And in this essay, you're going to be interacting with the readings again and talking about maybe some of the strengths and the weaknesses. You can compare and contrast some of what the authors have talked about. And here again, you can also talk about whether you agree or disagree with some of their positions. Just make sure that as you define your thesis, that you then spend the rest of your essay defending your thesis, supporting your argumentation with proper documentation of sources, whether it's the primary text or anything, the primary text or things from previous classes you've had or just outside reading or journals. So, I noticed last night when I reviewed my welcome video that I drug on for about 9 minutes. I promise not to do that every single workshop, but I do want to take this time each week to try to overview what you can expect. As I've said before, I look forward to what you have to provide. I'm excited about this course. My goal is to stimulate your thinking and to interact with you and the readings together so that we can grow in our understanding of diversity. But also, if you haven't yet, please take the time to read my devotion that I posted in Workshop 1.3. Also, throughout this week and the subsequent weeks, I want us to be thinking about, in spite of diversity, how can we seek for unity in this world, especially as believers? How can we look beyond all the differences to find the strengths that reside in our commonalities? So again, thank you for being part of this class. I look forward to your class autobiographies, to engaging with you this week in the discussion boards, and to read your assignments. If you have any questions, any concerns, please email me, call me, or you can text me as we discussed the other day. I look forward again to what you have to offer. Take care and God bless.